I wanted to share some quick information. I'm going to do some lives every single week on a Wednesday for the month of November. I think it's very important that we understand financial literacy. So that's the reason why I'm here. Also, to let you guys know that everything that I'm talking about, it may be different for everybody's situation. So I don't want you guys to be like, hey, I need to go ahead and do this. I personally believe, being a financial professional for the last 8, 9 years, I personally believe that everybody's situation is completely different. So if you see something up here that applies to you, you might want to speak to your financial professional. You might want to get to your advisor and say, hey, I've seen some stuff on 401k, and I want to just check and see if that's good for my situation. So let me share my screen really quick. Right. All right. So every time I'm meeting with people, when it comes to their retirement accounts, there's always some questions when it comes to their 401k or any other type of retirement vehicles that they have. So I'm just going to share this quick 5-minute presentation. If you miss it, you can always see it on YouTube because I am recording this. So let's go ahead and dive in. So a lot of people are familiar with the 401k, but for those who are not, a 401k is a retirement vehicle savings plan offered by a for-profit company. So if you're working for a nonprofit, you might have a 403b, or if you work for the government, you might have a TSP, which is a thrift savings plan. But either way, it's for employees. It's from a company that's for-profit, and it's for employees that offer certain tax advantages. So a lot of people ask, well, where is my money invested? There's a lot of people who have a 401k and they don't even realize that they are actually investors. Your 401k is invested in specific asset classes, mainly these three that I'm about to go over, which is equities. So your 401k is invested in stocks, is invested in fixed income, which are bonds, and some of it may be invested in cash equivalents. Now, you may have in your 401k, you might have different funds that you might see. Those who look at their statement, because a lot of people kind of set it and forget it, but I highly recommend you at least do a review with yourself and per year, or you do a review with your advisor. So you might have some index funds in there. So that will be something like a S&P 500 or a NASDAQ 100. You also may have target date funds, which are pretty good for setting the date for when you're planning on retirement. They may be a lot more riskier in your younger years, but as you start to glide towards retirement, the portfolio gets a little bit more conservative. So you might have a target date fund if you plan on retiring in like 2045, 2055, 2060. And you also might have some stock funds or some bond funds. I want you guys to start to get familiar with, every time you're taking money out of your check and you're putting it into any type of investment, I want you guys to really start to ask questions and start to get familiar, because ultimately, whether you have an advisor or you're doing it yourself, you're still responsible for your money. So financial education is very important. Now, people always ask me, well, how much can I contribute? Well, every year they change this. The IRS changes this every year. So you have to check and see. So if you're under 50 years old, the contribution limits, for 2023 is 22.5 for an employee, but altogether for an employee and the employer, you're looking at 66,000 a year. Now, if you're my age, if you're 50 or over, you have some time to actually play catch up. So catch-up contribution limits are for 2023. Remember, every year they change. It's 30,000 for an employee, and it's 73.5 for an employee, and that's total employee and employer. So make sure that you understand your roadmap to retirement is critical, because this is the phase of your money where it's contribution. So your contribution is going to help you down the line with distribution when you're in your retirement years. Now, there's a lot of times people beat up a 401k. I'm not here to beat it up. I'm not here to praise it. I'm just going to give you some pros and cons that you may be familiar with or you may not be familiar with. So one pro is you're saving towards retirement. That's a good thing. Because I tell people all the time, if you don't save money or invest money, money won't save you down the line. And if you don't put any away now, your future lifestyle is going to suffer. If you don't save money, when can you stop working? So you might love what you do, but you ultimately want the choice to say, hey, I've saved and invested enough money where I'm done. I don't have to do that. The con to that is it may not be enough to live off of when it comes to your full retirement. And you also have the early penalty of 59 and a half. So when you start taking money, of course, there's different reasons why you can take it without the penalty. But if there's certain money that you need and you're not 59 and a half, you're going to pay that penalty. And another big thing is running out of money, not putting enough away now, and you're risking running out of money down the line or having to go back to work in your latter years. Another pro is an employer may match or they may contribute to it, which is a good thing. The bad thing is, or the con is, they may only match up to a certain percentage. Now, a lot of people ask me, should I contribute to my 401k? Honestly, that's totally up to you. Like I said, you're saving towards retirement, but if someone tells me if I put in 1,000 every month and they're going to match that and put 1,000 in every month, why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I do that? Take advantage. Please take advantage of, certain matches and things that your employer may be offering. Another pro is the tax advantage. Now, some people will argue this point. It will help you save on taxes today. The con is you may be paying taxes or higher taxes later on. Now, you hear this stuff across the internet. Well, I could defer taxes until later on, but here's the magic question. What are taxes going to be in the future? Nobody knows. They could go up, right? So you're taking that risk. You're gambling that risk of saying, hey, I might have to pay more taxes later on this money. So that's a con. Another pro is you can capitalize off of market performances. The beauty of market performances is when it's up, it's up. The bad thing is when it's down, it's down. So you can actually lose market value in downturns. And when, especially 2022, a lot of people planned on retiring that year maybe, and it was a negative year. So you want to be careful of things like that. And it's convenient. It's easy. I mean, they're taking it out of your check. It's easy to contribute from your paycheck. The bad thing is your 401k typically has higher fees. Why? Because you have management fees, you have record keeping fees, you have all other types of fees, administration fees, all these things that you may not be aware of. So you might want to take a look and see what they're charging you when it comes to your fees, and of course, expense ratios and things like that. Now, again, I believe everybody's situation is different. Please speak to your professional or consult with your own advisor on some of these things, because I don't believe in just telling everybody they should do the same thing. Everybody is completely different. So I want you to consider these things. A 401k may be beneficial for you. However, you may want to explore other investment options outside of your job. A lot of times people tie everything to their job. I get it. You love the benefits, right? You got the healthcare, you got all these benefits, but the average time that people stay at a job is about 4 years. So then you're going to have to move that money, right? And another thing is get life insurance outside of the job. Get something that you can control and you actually own on your own. So you might want to consider because believe it or not, you have more options outside of your job when it comes to investing, as opposed to your 401k. They give you a certain amount of options to invest in. So explore the options. Another thing I want you to consider is your 401k was not designed to provide income for your life, like a pension. It wasn't designed to be your only vehicle as well. It started during the Carter administration in 1978, and it wasn't to replace, I know it's replacing the pension now, but it's not a vehicle that's going to give you income for life. So you may want to look at other things to do when it comes to investing. Another thing I want you guys to consider is you should also consider, this is very big, very important. I come across this all the time, is tax diversification. Now, I'm not giving you any tax advice, but I want you to consider this. Do you want all of your distribution of income in retirement to be taxed? It's a good question. I want you guys to really think about, because you might be deferring taxes now with your 401k. And if that's your only vehicle, if a traditional IRA is your only vehicle, or if you have a pension as well, and those are your only vehicles, every time you take money, guess who has their hand out? Uncle Sam. He wants his cut, and he's going to get his cut, believe me. So you might want to consider getting some tax-free income in retirement. And another thing I want you guys to be considerate of is withdrawals may be included, especially in these vehicles, included in your income, and that's going to determine how much or what portion of your Social Security benefits are taxable. It's very important. See, tax diversification is very important, you guys. If you need 70, 80,000 in retirement, you want to pull it off from this vehicle, your Social Security is going to get hit. So you might want to have tax diversification. Maybe you might want a Roth IRA or another tax-free vehicle where you can actually take some of that 70 or 80,000 that you need from there, take some from Social Security, of course, and take enough from your 401k. So think about these things. I know you love the breaks now, but would you rather pay taxes on the seed or the whole harvest, right? Think about that, because you're going to be paying taxes indefinitely when it's time for distribution. And another thing I want you guys to be mindful, the last thing is be mindful of the red zone of retirement. Even with the 50-50 stock and bond blend in your portfolio in retirement, you still can jeopardize the longevity of your money when there's market volatility. I have seen this so many times. People set it and they forget it. And then they plan on retiring. I know people who literally planned on retiring in 2021, and they panicked in 2020, in March 2020, when COVID hit and the market went down. People panicked and they pulled their money from these more aggressive type of funds to a more conservative type of fund. But when you do that, it's a realized loss now. So I want you guys to start planning and preparing and looking, because retirement is a place. I want you guys to map this thing out. Know how long you plan on staying there, knowing what you want to do when you are there, and just make sure you keep the most important things in mind on why you worked all your life to get to this place called retirement. Do the things that you've always wanted to do. Do the things that you really love to do, because we only have one life, guys. Anybody who knows me, if I'm their professional, they know that I'm more concerned with the quality of your life, right? And not stressing over money, and having meaningful and purposeful relationships, and educating yourself, because ultimately it's our responsibility to figure these things out. So I just wanted to share this with you. Make sure that next Wednesday at the same time, I'll be doing it for the whole month of November, because I want to give thanks to everybody out there, everybody who supports me, whether you're my client or not, family, friends, people I don't know. Financial literacy is near and dear to my heart. Growing up in the projects, not knowing anything about money, I just want to give back. So make sure you guys tune in. And if you missed this, go to my YouTube. It'll be there a little bit later on or tomorrow. Go and watch the replay.